interview that the parole officer did with you indicated that you've been clean and sober 3 months.
Yeah, just about. I've been to a few events lately.
What does that mean?
I had a birthday in May, and then I had a gathering, like a family gathering over the weekend.
Okay, and so you drink at those events?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not sober?
I drink occasionally.
Okay, the definition of sober is not drinking. So,
okay, and buckle up. We're about to see Connecticut pardon hearing. And those of you familiar with this channel, it's the same parole board that handles the Connecticut parole hearings that handles these pardon hearings. So you may recognize their voices. Now you can put a face to their voice. And guess what? So people are showing up to try to get their records expunged, have a new slate, start anew. And I think that's a beautiful thing, a beautiful opportunity to wipe old felonies off your record if you're doing great. But I gotta tell you, Connecticut, they take this stuff lightly because Mr. Mirabella, he would have an aneurysm if he heard that. But Connecticut, they just might grant. We're gonna see some crazy hearings that I think you are just not going to believe what you are hearing. So with that, let's jump in.
Okay, next on the docket, we have Perris Gilbert, represented by Attorney Bell's office.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, members of the board. Attorney Christopher Totillo on behalf of Mr. Gilbert. Just as a brief introduction, I'm happy to report that there are no changes to Mr. Gilbert's conviction history. He has no new arrests since the time that the application was filed. It is the same as the day that it was filed. As an introduction, in the 15 years since Mr. Gilbert's last criminal conviction, he has been working to move on from the man who cut corners and engaged in toxic relationships to become someone who is dependable and there for his family. In his words, he has no more time for distractions and excuses. With that said, our office did hear the board's concerns during the pre-screen regarding Mr. Gilbert's accountability and his remorse for his convictions. So during our prep for this hearing, I asked him to articulate himself a little bit more and tell me about how he feels about his history. And what I heard was a story that much better captures his understanding of the impact of his actions, and that clarifies his belief that there can be no excuses when it comes to his criminal record. But I'll let you hear from him directly. I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Gilbert to now address you himself and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. State your name, sir.
My name is Perris Gilbert.
Okay. Did you have a brief statement?
Yes. Well, first I would like to thank you guys for this hearing today. But I'll get right into it. I know it's a long docket. Right. Again, as my attorney Chris said, I have no more time for games or excuses, any more distractions. I'm rolling in the back half of my life. So I just want to be a present parent. I dedicated the last 20 years on being a father and a mentor. And I just wanted to apologize to all those that are harmed with my poor choices at the time. It was in a moment. I was in an adolescent mind frame. And I surely lack the awareness of making those split decisions. I'm no longer impulsive, controlling. I know how to communicate a little better. Since then, I've been driving tractor trailers for the past 15 years.
Are you ready for our questions, sir?
Yes, please.
All right. Thank you. So as your attorney said, we did have some concerns at our pre-screen hearing. I particularly thought that you minimized these offenses, and I can give you some examples. So for instance, saying, I didn't realize sitting in the car would get me in trouble. Let's see. There was another one that said, the drugs weren't mine, but I was selling. The domestic violence case said, She was being physical. Unfortunately, her ankle got sprained. You know, like these are all, do you know what it means to minimize something?
Yes, I got a better understanding now.
Yeah, like to like it's almost like you're placing the blame on other people
Mhm.
or making your crimes seem less than what they are.
That's
So
not what- yeah,
you
that-
understand.
Yeah, that's not what I was trying to do. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay, it's fine. So for instance, in your assault third case, did you assault your victim?
Yes.
Okay. So rather than explain how she was being physical, because she's not before us, we want to hear that you say, you know, I assaulted her. I
Mhm.
messed up. You know, that's taking full responsibility. So you admit that you were selling drugs, right? And again, we're going back over 15 years.
Right.
So, you know, we see that you've changed by the things you tell us that you've been doing. But the facts are you were selling drugs, you assaulted an ex. Are you single now?
No, I'm with someone.
You're with someone new. How long have you been in your new relationship?
4 years.
4 years. Okay. Have you had any issues?
Oh,
Have you used any skills that you learned from your domestic violence program?
absolutely.
Okay, tell me. Give me an example.
Communication. I don't run away from the tough questions. I say how I feel. We can work it out. You know, I'm dealing with someone a little different, so it's easier. A little, you know, we're older now, so it's easier
Well,
to
and we
communicate.
certainly do hope that people do grow and change as a result. You did take a lot of programs. You have 4 children. Are you in contact with all of them?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you working now, sir?
Yes.
Where are you working?
I'm working with a subcontractor. That
Okay.
works in Snyder. It's a trailer company.
Okay. How long have you been at that job?
I just started. I just moved from my previous job to this one back in the tractor trailer field.
Okay. Why did you leave the shredding company?
I needed more income.
So what did you do after that?
Well, after the shredding company, I'm now with another tractor trailer company.
No, I know, but you said you just started it. So what'd you do in the gap if you needed more income?
I transitioned from one job to the next.
Mm.
Oh, I thought I read that the shredding job ended in 22.
Yeah,
No.
I wrote that too, that he wasn't
No?
working.
No, it ended a couple months ago, like April.
So you went from the shredding place to the new job?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. There's a miscommunication somewhere then. Okay. Are you doing any work in the community now?
Yes, I'm working with that's a warming center. So we help out those who's looking for apartments and elderly people that need a house clean and different things, lawn cut. Some of the
Oh, nice. How often do you do that type of work?
it's randomly. Usually it picks up during the winter time, but during the summertime we help out with any trash that needs to get thrown out, cutting grass, different things of that nature.
Okay. Did you have a problem with alcohol back in the day?
I did.
Okay. Are you sober now?
I drink occasionally, but it's not excessive.
Okay. So you think it was excessive, not necessarily alcoholism?
No, well, I think I was bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Daily.
okay. Ms. Turner?
Along the same lines, so you were using marijuana and alcohol daily, and you had a job driving the shredding truck. So the interview that the parole officer did with you indicated that you've been clean and sober 3 months.
Yeah, just about. I've been to a few events lately.
What does that mean?
I had a birthday in May, and then I had a gathering, like a family gathering over the weekend.
Okay, and so you drink at those events.
Yes.
Okay, so you're not sober.
I drink occasionally.
If you are an alcoholic or were an alcoholic, you are an alcoholic today.
Okay, the definition of sober is not drinking. So do you practice anything to keep your alcohol consumption, non-excessive?
I have to get up to work. I have to pay that child support. I have to make sure I'm available for my children. So yeah, work is a big motivator for me not to want to drink during days I have to work.
Especially because you're driving vehicles.
I drive heavy machinery, so of course I don't want to hurt anyone, and I don't want to get hurt. So
Well, and it does stay in your system for up to 72 hours.
Understood.
So, in your bloodstream.
You are trash.
So, but you're not, you didn't do treatment, you aren't practicing recovery. Is that correct?
that's correct.
I would encourage you to find a sober network and, you know, have some practices to support you living clean and sober, because it seems like it contributed quite a bit to the crimes that you committed, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I will say that.
Mhm.
Around the different community of network, I have a strong support system. So I have friends and family that also understands my what I'm trying to do, where I'm heading. So
I in your application, you claimed some of the problem was that you never took time to vet the women that you were with. What does that mean?
didn't take my time with myself. I was just moving fast. You try to like who like you and try to stick with a relationship through thick and thin sometimes. And when things are going bad, you think it's supposed to be this way. So I try to stick it out. When now I understand what's toxic and what's not working. I understand that now. But as a child, I just thought you stick it through. My parents been together over 50 years, so that was kind of like a baseline I always had.
What does it mean to vet women?
But no, I hope I didn't say it that way.
Oh yeah,
I said
in your
that.
application.
But I meant saying, like, pay more close attention to the women that I'm dating, where I meet, how I meet, you know, things like that. I mean, I hope vet isn't a bad word. I just thought it meant more paying attention more to the quality of women I choose to deal with.
I would think that in your case, you know, what you might mean is that you take time to get to know the person that you're starting a relationship with, it instead of jumping in with 2 feet, moving in 2 months, and you know, being up in their business 24/7. You know, you kind of got to take relationships and see where they go to know that you're a good match.
Yep, I agree.
All right. It sounded like more in your application like you were testing out cars.
That wasn't what I
Thank
was.
you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Berry?
I have no questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I think in some cases here, the way you communicate things, it can be taken the wrong way, you know? So in other words, maybe testing out you taking more time in the relationship, and, you know, maybe give yourself equal accountability, right? It sounds like you're putting it off on the women, like, you know, I was choosing poor women, when really you should be saying, well, it wasn't the right relationship. Right? Not all personalities are compatible. So just be careful how you word things. Okay, in the matter of Perris Gilbert, I'll move to grant an absolute pardon. Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Barry?
Aye.
My vote is aye. The pardon is granted. Congratulations, sir. Thank you, your attorney.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I mean, it kind of feels like a parole hearing. They go in really hard. They're attacking. They're like this, that, right, left. And then they're like, okay, now that we've finished beating you up, here you go. Here's your part. And the attorney, the look on his face, he's like, what did I get? Oh, look, I don't really know. I don't know. I'm all for the pardon thing, but there's just such in Louisiana. I don't know if you've seen the pardon hearings in Louisiana. I just recorded one. I don't know if you could check the playlist, because there's one either released by now or I'm going to release it soon. And they take it so differently. They would have failed this just simply by the fact that the person claimed to have a drinking problem, tells the interviewer, the parole officer, that he is sober, and then admits to not being sober for 3 months, actually having drink. And it's just for that they would say that this is too muddy, this is too messed up. Now I don't like, you know, it was strange because he he was being honest with them. You know, he said, "Oh yeah," you know, in the sense that, well, did he drink? Yeah, I drank a few times. You know, everybody has a different idea of sober. Like, hey, I drink at least once a week, right? I wouldn't claim to be sober, but there is like, I don't know. I just like, if his last felony was 15 years ago, I'm not exactly sure when he got out. And look, if he's you know, why not? I guess why not? But it's just interesting. It's just when you do it in comparison. I don't have any other information to share with this. I don't know that he has any DUIs or anything. So all right, you know, maybe he's just a really transparent man. But we're gonna see more. Let's see how the others go. Let's keep going.
Frank Joseph Totillo Jr., also being represented by Attorney Ralph Sherman today.
Thank
And
you.
good morning again, Ralph Sherman representing Mr. Totillo. It's almost 20 years, I think, since he was in trouble, and it's really a lot of stupid kid stuff. Just a matter of growing up, and he's ready to answer any questions.
Thank you. What's your name, sir?
Frank Totillo Jr.
Okay. Ms. Turner?
So while your attorney describes this as, you know, youthful misadventures, it's nevertheless very concerning because your offense involved a firearm, domestic violence, and you were intoxicated at the time. So why don't you tell us what was going on with you?
Well, I was young. I was very just me against the world, kind of not realizing it. How do I put it? There's other avenues of life. You know, it was just kind of like me against the world. I had a broken home, and I was just very, very kind of angry. Used other things for excuses, and got myself in, you know, a little bit of trouble.
Why did you have the gun?
I actually did the safety course and had the application. I was going to get my permit at the time. I was just a little ahead of the steps.
Well, you were in violation of the law. You didn't have a
Yes.
pistol permit and you were carrying one.
Correct.
Have you ever read the police report for this offense?
Probably when it came out. I haven't read it recently, no.
Okay. I was concerned in your application because you really minimized what could have been a very serious situation. I mean, it already was because you were pointing the firearm, and there were people that were trying to intervene. It appeared to be an assault that you were committing against a girlfriend at the time, and you went to your vehicle and returned with a revolver and aimed it at these individuals who were intervening in the situation. And then you tried to get rid of the gun. And in your description, you said police found the gun when they were called about a loud argument.
Correct. So that story is a little not how I remember it, to be honest. So yes, I did have a firearm on me. Me and somebody were arguing. When the people came, I made a gesture, and there were cops everywhere. So when the cops started coming, I tried to get rid of it, but I've never pointed it at anybody.
Were you in fact assaulting your girlfriend at the time?
We were in a heated argument, but I did not strike her at all.
Why would they say that you were?
Me and her were arguing, but I was not hitting her. We were in a very loud argument, face to face, but there was no physical punching or hitting or anything like that.
Were you intoxicated at the time?
Yes, we were at a nightclub, so we were drinking at the time.
I asked if you were intoxicated.
Yes, I was drinking, yes.
Excessively? Moderately?
Probably moderately. I can't say for sure. It was a long time ago, but we were out drinking that night at a club, so I definitely had some drinks.
I just would, the crime happened.
Mhm.
It's documented. You were convicted. You served your sentence.
Correct.
And I just don't, I made a note to myself when I was reading for the pre-screen. I just didn't understand why you would be evading on the details of the offense. I mean, it's over and done with. And, obviously we do our due diligence and we read the police report, and that's why it really stood out for me. Why else would these three men get involved if they weren't concerned because they saw you assaulting a female? So it has been some time. You had one incarceration for this offense, and you've been off supervision almost 16 years. What new career opportunities are you seeking, having been a mechanic?
Just something less, more physical, maybe something in with like the city or the state. Just some, maybe even a little schooling, just something not so physical labor anymore.
Okay, but you don't have a field in mind?
No, not exactly. I'm just we're still, if I get the chance to open up, opportunity doors, I can kind of start really, digging into it more that way.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Berry.
No questions.
In the matter of Frank Totillo Jr., I'll move to grant an absolute pardon. Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Ms. Berry?
Aye.
And my vote is aye. The pardon is granted. Congratulations, sir. Thank you, Attorney Sherman.
Thank you very much. Make
Thank
it a
you.
great day.
You too.
Congratulations.
And again, another horrible interview kicked off by his attorney, like making light of the situation. He's immediately called out. And then he goes on and, like in his application, just downplays everything. Did you have a gun with that? An illegal firearm? No. Well, I took a course. It's like, no, that's an illegal firearm. And he downplays everything. But meanwhile, he has a conviction for it. Think about that. It's like as if you're showing up for parole and you deny everything. You would think that that would at least be what, all he had to do is go in there and say, yes, I did this, this, and this. But it's been 20 years. I've been great. I haven't been not a speeding ticket, nothing. But he couldn't do it, and still they reward him. And again, so Connecticut has an agenda, and the agenda is let's clean up everybody's felonies. Living with the felony, it's really hard. So you just need to show up. You need to say why you want it removed. You improve your job opportunities, etc. And they want to hand them out like hotcakes. Now, in Louisiana, the other state that we cover, and we are covering a few more states coming soon for these pardon hearings, it's more like, did you earn it? Like it's a special thing. Do you really earn it? And not in Connecticut. You can flunk your hearing, which he did. I don't know if he could have had a worse hearing, frankly, and they still gave it to him. It's strange. Why even have the hearing? I don't get that part. Anyways, let's go on to the next one.
Next on the docket, we have Allan De Vger.
Allan De Vger. Good morning, board.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you have a brief statement, sir?
Yeah, I'll keep it short because I know, we have a big docket today. Many years ago, I had a undiagnosed mental health, issue. I suffer with depression and anxiety for a good portion of my life, medicated. Always afraid that, if you talk to a doctor, they can lock you up. And it kind of just perpetuated. I was working between 55 and 76 hours a week, very high stress job, a lot of storm response back when we had, Hurricane Sandy, Hurricane Irene, really first on scene in many cases. And, I was living alone. I was out of a relationship, and it really just started to kind of pile up. And missed work. They called in a wellness check. Middletown police came to the house. That kind of perpetuated the case, because I'm like, oh my God, why is there cops here? Few hours later, they were actually doing ventilation cleaning on the building. So I started hearing like machinery coming through the ductwork. So, I mean, it was like one thing after the next where everybody starts to kind of become a suspect and you become paranoid and, it kind of just kind of unraveled. Ended up kind of going on a hike, for lack of a better word. I ended up in the woods next to the Connecticut River for almost 2 days. No water, mid-July, severe dehydration, so it kind of perpetuated more. Ended up finding that house. That kind of looked like a safe point in my head. I'm thinking, oh my God, thank God. And went into the house. I drank some water. I fell asleep up in the master bedroom. The homeowners came home. They saw the shoes at the back door. State police came in. I hid in the closet, not thinking it was police. I hid in the closet, and the canine came into the room. All I saw was the canine. And then after that, it was, a taser, a lot of kind of blank spots with that moment in time. And since then, I've gone through extensive between, pre-incarceration therapy, new prospects, Bristol counseling, 3 years at Capital Region. I had a 14-year special parole. It was reduced down to 3. 0 issues with law enforcement. I currently am resident manager of Catherine's Place, which is a post-incarceration program. Spend a lot of time with the Open Hearth, member of the 100 Club, a lot of different things. I had a choice in this matter after I got out and after I fixed myself and got on stable medication to either proceed with the life I had or reach back and help people. And I chose to reach back. And a lot of times, it's taxing. I mean, I've watched a lot of these hearings and board what you guys do and hear, and it's taxing. It's taxing. Just helping a recent client get his license was unbelievable to me. I'm like, click appointment. And when I returned back to Capital Region to find out about a mentorship program, I was told, take care of the felonies. The job I've been at for 108 weeks, I operate as an outside contractor, managing 250,000 square feet for the oldest Roman Catholic parish in the state of Connecticut. And this is a big driver because once the felony is removed, I can become, truly part of staff where you're entitled to the various, benefits of being a member. So, I'm here today to ask for a chance. A lot of people have given me a chance throughout this, and I'm committed to not letting you down.
Okay, thank you very much. And we do have a victim statement here today, but let's see what questions we have first. Ms. Berry?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Mr. De Vger, I'm curious to know, had you not received the early termination of your special parole, because you would still be under supervision right now, how would you manage your employment endeavors?
The special parole never forged any type of hindrance. After being incarcerated, I became general manager of Lincoln Door. I then went into security and was responsible for the safety and security of over 600 employees and approximately 15 guards. I think at some point, parts I got lucky, but it never impeded me. I was very forthcoming with the charges throughout this.
So I'm going to stop you, Mr. De Vger. I apologize because I think I may have misunderstood you then. So you're seeking this pardon for?
Employment advancement.
So again, I'm not I asked you, how would your being on special parole you would have still would have been a felony. You still would have been under supervision. You're saying it's not hindering you from your employment endeavors. So I just don't understand why you can't allow this to remain on your record.
You can't be a felon and be hired under the business. You can't be a felon and be hired.
So had you still been on special parole, would this be your aspiration?
I mean, I enjoy the job, and special parole. I don't think it would have hindered me being hired. I don't think it would have hindered me being hired. Yeah, I don't, you know, I
So, I mean,
really,
honestly, you received a huge chunk taken off your sentence. You were incarcerated. I was on your panel. I voted you to parole. I also, because I thought that, you know, you presented yourself well, and I'm glad to hear and see that you're still doing well. But, you know, this crime was very concerning. It's almost like a home invasion, so to speak, because you're in someone else's home. They don't know that you're there. You're hiding out in a closet. Where'd you get the knife?
the kitchen.
So did you go back to the kitchen to get the knife and then go to the
No,
closet?
when I first went in the house, the first thing I did was I drank some water from the water cooler. I got the knife from the kitchen. I went upstairs and fell asleep.
Why did you get the
Yeah.
knife?
For protection. I mean, I was
For protection in somebody
absolutely-
else's house?
I was over the course of those couple of days of being in the woods. I was absolutely convinced that, you know, I had been left behind, that there had been a rapture, and you know,
So what would have happened if you would
I
have
was
awakened with the knife in
scared.
hand? What would have happened if you would have awakened with the knife in hand and it was a child? Had you not heard someone down there? Had they just startled you and been like, "Oh my God, who is this?" What would you have done with the knife?
ma'am, you know, at no point was I ever trying to, you know, attack. You know, it was really just, it was almost a constant run for a period of almost 10 miles where, you know, I wasn't thinking clearly. You know, the dehydration, you know, even from the Middlesex report of, you know, how many liters in the intravenous and stuff, you know, it just, it really was the worst moment of my life. You know, it was in no way, you know, form or fashion was I seeking to you know, hurt absolutely anybody. When I came to that house, I was like, okay, we gotta, you know, get some water,
Okay.
get some rest. You know,
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I really, really am. I do understand that you're trying to explain yourself, and I do understand that you were in, you know, this a mental health, you know,
Crisis.
yes, I really do understand that. My concern, though, is the impact that this had on the victims in this house. I mean, while it's great to hear that you're doing well and that you are, you know, excelling despite this conviction. I just don't. It's so soon. That's one, and two. I just feel like you've already received some relief. And so now you're seeking again to have this removed as if it never occurred. And this was a significant offense. Like it was a very serious offense, and it could have gone so differently. You know, I think that you were lucky. And I think the victims were as well. I really don't have any other questions, Madam Chair. I do appreciate your speaking with me, sir.
Thank you. Mr.
Yes,
De
ma'am.
Vger, so you've been in the community for 7 years now?
yes, ma'am, 7.
7 years. So how long have you been on your current treatment regimen?
Well, medication has not changed in 9 years since McDougall Walker.
Okay.
2 medications. As far as you know, therapy, it was 3 years at Capital Region, and in the end, I was told, Al, you know, we need to make room for people that need us more. You know, ultimately, and that was a little tough. You know, I had leaned on Karen, you know, Yamalis substantially. You know what I mean? Throughout this, when I first got out of jail, I didn't even want to leave. You know, it was months before even leaving the halfway house. And she said, first, Al, I want you to get on a bus, and I need you to, you know, get on a bus. And even the bus was like a mountain. And this, prior to this, you know, I had thousands of customers and traveled, you know, for training, climbed, you know, 250,000 vertical feet in roofing, and I couldn't even get on a bus. I could not even get on a bus.
Yeah.
So it was a very slow rebloom, and there was a lot of people that helped, a massive amount of people, you know, between
Yeah.
Parole Officer Winokur, Parsons, Capital Region.
Mhm.
I was humbled by the amount of people that not only cared, but how many people it takes. Even somebody from a supportive house and, you know, a decent background and on and on. I was humbled with how many people it took just to get to this moment. It's
So were you,
unbelievable.
did you say you were successfully discharged?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that's where I returned to, you know, find out about the mentorship, talk to Faye throughout this process. And she said,
Okay.
Al, listen, I want you to focus on this first. It's more paramount, and then come back, you know.
So what supports do you have in place today?
One of the biggest supporting things I can say throughout this is balance. I was always a very OCD person, overboard. I used to go home on lunch to vacuum, and I was the only one living there with no pets. You know, and I mean, it was getting to the point at certain points in my life where it was overtaking. You know, it was literally overtaking. So between physical balance, I work out 5 times a week.
Wait, did you understand my
Caffeine.
question, sir? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I need you to focus. What supports do you have in place now? I'm not talking about yourself and your daily routine. Who do you call when you need someone?
Well, my mother and father,
Okay.
direct. My coworkers, which include 5 priests ultimately. I'm connected to the Open Hearth, plus in the service that I do as the resident manager for Catherine's Place, which is the post-incarceration program. That's helped me too, because, you know, when I help somebody and I see that little bit of growth,
Mhm.
that's one of the only times now after this event that I feel happy. You know, I lost a lot of that joy from just some of the stuff I enjoyed in life. But when you see somebody make a little bit of progress,
Yeah.
the goal is to almost help them so they can help other people. It's like the echo effect.
Yeah.
And that's helped me really stay grounded. A proper diet, physical, you know, proper medication at the
Yeah,
right
again,
time.
you're getting off track, so I'm going to redirect you.
Sorry.
I know you. It sounds like you really need someone to talk to. But anyway, Ms. Turner.
Sir, you, my colleague touched on the victims who were the homeowners who came home to find you there. But we haven't talked about the injury to law enforcement as a result of trying to take you into custody. I know that you were tased and they used OC spray to try to take you into custody. And there, you know, you were charged with assault on public safety because you were actively fighting them. I get it. You were in a psychotic episode. But when I read through your whole application, there was nothing by way of an apology to the first responders who, you know, were confronted with your situation and your resistance.
Ma'am, after I had been brought down to the state police barracks, I think they started to piece this together that this was maybe an abnormal event. I spent a 30-minute session with that officer in transport, in the front of his vehicle, being transported to Hartford Correctional, and I apologize. I mean, I was in tears the whole drive. You know, as
Okay, so why in your
you know,
application would you not have shown any anything by way of remorse or an apology? Just left it out?
No, you know, I did have a substantial conversation, you know, with the officer, and I was during the hearing. I originally thought that everyone was going to be at the hearing, so I thought this was going to be, you know, the time to originally, you know, let everyone know. I am deeply sorry. Of course, the job that these officers have to do and the situations that they have to go into is astounding. And like Judge Gold said, you know, thank God for their level of training, because I could have been dead. I could have been dead. There, you know, I watch a lot of different stuff related to, you know, law enforcement and court, and there are people that are, you know.
Okay, so let's stick to the apology. Let's stick to the apology. So if they were listening, what would you say?
I would say to both of the responding officers, first off, thank you for what you do. You guys have one of the toughest jobs on the earth. I'm very grateful that non-lethal force was used and I was able to ultimately be at this point. With the family involved, I'm deeply sorry. I invaded the privacy, of your home.
Sanctity,
Pardon, ma'am?
sanctity of their home, where
The
they should feel
sanctity.
safe.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I truly have done everything I can to not only try to offset this, but to give back, to really.
I read that
truthfully,
you said that
give back.
repeatedly in your application, and I get that you were doing that through your employment, but what are you doing as a volunteer?
Well, the position I hold as assistant resident manager is it's an unpaid position. So with those 8 men that I assist, the functions of the house. Also, within work on the weekends, it is a church. Weekends I do volunteer. This past weekend it was 6 hours. In the last 4 days it was a total of 12. So there's a homeless ministry that is ran out of here. So there's a lot of different angles to that. Between the snack station, the sandwich station, the water for them.
Thank you,
And then
Mr.
over.
Berger. Obviously, you are you've come a long way. This was a unfortunate episode, psychotic episode. I'm wondering if you know what triggered you to go into the woods.
I just started walking, and that was really the only woods in relation to where I lived. I lived at the top of 66 in Middletown, so I just followed it down.
So
And then
at
when I
what
got
point, at what point did it go from being a walk in the woods to this kind of break with reality?
the break had already, I believe, occurred prior. I had given away my vehicle to a neighbor.
Okay.
I left my house. I threw my phone over a bridge thinking I was being tracked. So by the time I got in there, and then after about a day and a half in the woods of no water overnight, I mean, at one point I covered myself with dirt because of how cold I was.
Okay, we did read all of those details, and you presented quite a bit in your opening statement. I just wondered if you understood what preceded this episode such that you can be mindful and aware.
I would say proper, because I thought about this for many years. What was the root? And I had a lot of issues with sleep at different periods in my life. I was almost afraid to go to sleep, and I would hold on to being awake. And now on the proper medication that I take every night at the exact same time, coupled with the proper diet and a reduction of caffeine by 80%. I sleep well. I wake up. I'm well rested and balanced ultimately, and I have had zero type of feelings like this on the proper medication. I was never on medication when I was younger. I was diagnosed with ADD. My parents didn't want to put me on anything, because they were very holistic type people, and the medication has helped a lot, and sleep and therapy.
Okay. Well, keep working on yourself. Keep vigilant on your issues.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we do have input from the Office of Victim Services, so we'll ask for that now. Mr. Jesus, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, board members. I do have a statement, and it reads as follows. Dear members of the board, we are the victims of Mr. De Vger. Although much time has passed, the long-term consequences of the break-in have sadly remained. The immediate aftermath was marked by extreme fear and anxiety. We struggled to sleep, constantly worried about another break-in, and expressed a profound loss of trust in others and the community. This fear was especially evident in our young children, who became hesitant to play outside or return home after any outing for fear that someone would be waiting in our home with a weapon ready to kill us. The sense of security once felt in our home was shattered, replaced by a constant state of vigilance and paranoia. Moments of anxiety persist, along with the feeling of violation caused by the incident and a profound sadness for the loss of my children's innocence and the safety of our little home. And the safety our little home once provided us. We would be remiss if we did not mention the financial strain this crime put on our family. The damage done to our home was significant. Doors broken, glass shattered, a bathroom, a master bedroom destroyed, blood stains from the violent arrest everywhere, and the fumes from the pepper spray and tear gas used during the arrest required us to have all of our clothes and furniture professionally cleaned and replaced. We had to temporarily move out of our home because it was completely unlivable. We needed to pay for extras for a security system as well as therapy for us and our children. The lingering effects of this crime have significantly changed our lives. Increased security measures have been implemented, and we are constantly aware of potential threats impacting daily routines and our overall sense of freedom. Relationships have also been strained, as the fear and mistrust experienced have extended to interactions with others. While the purpose of this hearing is to consider Mr. De Vger's petition for a pardon, the lasting impact of his actions mustn't be forgotten. We will never be able to forget the emotional, physical, and financial strain this crime caused our family. How we wish it could all be erased from our memories as easily as Mr. De Vger's crime could be erased from his record. It is hoped that the board will give serious consideration to the long-term suffering caused when deciding the pardon. Thank you for your time and allowing this statement to be shared. Thank you.
Thank you for that statement. I mean, they provided some insight that we don't even really think about. You know, the destruction of their home and but the additional costs, you know, we know about the loss of feeling safe in your home.
And the impact on the children as well, Madam Chair.
Okay, of course, yeah. All right, Ms. Berry, your thoughts, please.
While I can appreciate Mr. De Vger's explanation for everything, I honestly don't, I wouldn't feel comfortable pardoning this application, I'm sorry. It's a serious offense as evident by his time of incarceration, and the injury and impact to the victim, I already know will be forever. It will have a forever impact, but for those reasons, I'm not in support.
Okay, Ms. Turner?
I'm struggling a little bit because I don't think much will change going forward. I mean, he's done the treatment, he's on a regimen, he has his support network, and you know, I think you know, the risk is low. I appreciate where the family's coming from, and that they wanted to participate today. I think the opportunity to advance with things like medical care and so forth in his current position by no longer being a convicted felon gives him the avenues to progress. So I'm struggling a little bit, straddling both concerns.
Yeah, and I have a similar struggle because, you know, if he reapplies in 2 years, we come back here and like you said, nothing changes. The victims will still feel and of course, they're entitled to feel all that and probably will forever. I don't want to take that away from them, but they will still feel that way and they'll still wish to oppose this. And Mr. De Vger will still likely be doing the same things that he's doing now. I think he's done all that he can. I agree with board member Barry's assessment that, you know, he did receive breaks and he was terminated from special parole early, but he did so because he was doing so well. So it's a struggle for me, but I think Mr. De Vger is in a good place. He's doing well. He's giving back. And I do believe that he has genuine remorse. So my vote would be to grant the pardon.
Okay, I will grant as well, Madam Chair.
Okay, in the matter of Allan De Vger, I'll move to grant an absolute pardon. Ms. Berry?
Nay.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
And my vote is aye. The pardon is granted by majority with board member Berry dissenting. Congratulations, sir, and thank you to the victims and OBS for your participation.
Board, I won't let you down. Thank you. Thank you, board.
Now, this is insane. This is insane because, I mean, he committed this crime 10 years ago. He has 15 years probation that the judge gave him. So what you are doing is you are saying what the judge did is wrong. We are going to overturn that. This is so much more than a pardon. This is madness, in my opinion. He showed up and had a horrible hearing. I don't think he took accountability. He blamed it complete. It's all the mental stuff, Oh, I don't know. I was there. I was here. He went into the house with a knife. What do you think he was planning on doing? You cannot just because you have a conversation, a horrible conversation, say, you know what? Screw the victims. I don't care about their safety. I don't care about justice. I don't care about, who'll come back in 2 years anyways. How about no? How about no? This is madness. Like, what happened in this house? Like, you can say whatever it is. He could be the most, he could, who cares? The odds are, the point is that the people need to know that he has this in his history for their protection. It's their rights to know. You cannot expunge this. The victims are saying, please don't. They were terrified. He might have killed them. Shortly before 7 p.m. on July 5th, the homeowner called 911 to report that they had found the back door to his home forced open and the shoes of a stranger in the first floor hallway. The residence was forcibly entered through the rear door by throwing a concrete garden statue through the rear door's window. Troopers searched the home and found a second floor bedroom door locked, although the homeowner said that they had not locked it. Two troopers with police dog accompanying forced in the door. The dog pointed them to a closet. So their dog was pointed, found them out, and orders from the troopers emerged he emerged while holding a large knife. How they did not shoot him there on the spot is a different level thing. I mean, wow. Police said they would later determine that he had broken into another house and had obtained the knife there. So his second break-in of the day. One of the troopers heard him say something to the effect, "Today is Judgment Day. I will kill you and be forgiven for my sins, the Lord Almighty." This is what a crazy man is saying, holding a knife. What would have happened had the family returning gotten there and not the police? I wonder. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. He's figured things out. He's taken less coffee. He's got on his meds. He can be the best guy. It doesn't make a difference. That's actually not even the point. This is insane. He is not. What makes you feel that he is safe? Forget the fact that to get an expungement. Police said that troopers ordered him to drop the knife, which he did not do. Instead, he advanced on the troopers, one of whom tasered him to no effect. A violent physical struggle. What was he on that he was tasered to no effect? I know there's a chance maybe it just didn't hit right, or maybe he was on something. We're not, you know what I mean? Like, or is it can you be so manic that actually mind over matter? I don't know. but a violent physical struggle between the troopers and the dog. The police, of course, could have shot him on the spot, and there would have been a completely justified shooting. The idea that he's not dead, he should just be grateful for that. And he didn't. He didn't even acknowledge any of this in his speech. He made up a lie when they called him out on it. Oh, I thought that there would be people here, and I would, it was a horrible, horrible interview, and he got rewarded. A violent physical struggle between the troopers and the dog ensued, carried over the second floor bathroom, and the police eventually able to knock the knife out of his hand, first the handle, then the blade, and subdued him with pepper spray. A physician's report indicated that he suffered deep cut to at least one finger and another cut to his limb. One of the troopers reported suffering a bite from the dog. The dog bit the wrong guy. Oh no. His attorney argued a reduction in bond basis that he was experiencing some sort of mental breakdown, which sure he was, but holy cow. Am I the only one that feels this way? I feel this is insane. You don't get an expungement for this, but he got it. And there's another article where the family talks about how they, let's see. He addressed the court. This is his sentencing. I apologize to the family and my family for all that has gone on. When I did it, I was at the edge of death, and I thought I was the last person on earth. I can't believe it happened. See, this is a horrible apology. This is a horrible apology. Even then, I apologize, and I'm willing to take whatever punishment you see just. Gold told his courthouse that on the day of the burglary, things could have turned out much worse. First, the fact that he didn't go into the house, you weren't hurt. Gold said to the victim, the fact that Mr. De Vger is still here because the state troopers use incredible restraint and did not use lethal force is a miracle. Okay. De Vger was led away in handcuffs by marshals and managed to speak to his family. Don't worry, I'll be okay. God bless you. When his family left the courthouse, his mother passed out and an ambulance was called. The special parole hearing included GPS tracking, substance abuse checks, mental health counseling. He was charged a felony. And this is what I don't understand. It says that he has pending cases on charges of felony burglary in 2014, felony first-degree assault and burglary, as well as assault on public safety officer from the same year. I don't know if this is a typo or if he has a previous offense, okay? That's the strange part. I haven't been able to figure that out. But seems so simple. This seems so simple to me. You don't pardon a man that should still be on probation. Let him finish his probation. It's so simple. The victims are being re-victimized. Think about that. And I never can understand anyone. I get here's the thing. There are people that have manic episodes, and you see it all the time in true crime stuff where they say, well, I killed them because they were going to kill me or it was me or them. And the them they're talking about are like, a family. They wipe out a family, children, mother, and it's like, I think it still says something about the person's moral compass. Like, imagine if you're in a position, you're having a manic episode, you genuinely believe that you have to wipe out that family or you will die. If you had a moral compass, you would say, okay, I'll just die. Like, you're gonna go kill the kids and the wife and and that's the thing that I don't get. It's like it's like one thing if you're gonna have a manic episode, but there's another where you're having a manic episode, but you're still gonna put yourself before everybody else. And I can never wrap my mind around that. It's like I think you have to be like a super narcissist and have the manic problems where, again, the only thing that matters is you'll kill everybody to protect yourself. And I don't know. I know. I don't have a PhD, and there are those watching this will say, Mandy, you just don't understand. And I don't understand. I don't understand. But what I do understand is that this man should not in any which way get a pardon. Absolutely insane. And so I have like we have I'll end it here, but we have maybe, I don't know, another 100 or so hearings that are all, that are similar. If you want to see more of the pardon hearings, let me know in the comment section or by email, because I just don't know. I don't know if you want to see them or not. But I'm happy to play more of them. So with that, I'll let you go.